Ted Yates was among the most honored and respected television news documentary filmmakers of the 1960s. In 1967, Yates was killed by gunfire while covering the Six-Day War in the Middle East for NBC News. He was 36 years old at the time. Shortly after his death, our chapter created an annual award in his name. The Ted Yates Award is given to an individual who has demonstrated outstanding professional and personal qualities in their contribution to the National Capital Chesapeake Bay region's television news and public affairs. Please welcome the presenter for tonight's award.
Good evening. I'm looking at table 15 for strength right now on this one. I first met Tim Tootin when I was in high school. He came to Broadneck to shoot a feature on our school's engineering team. It was my first behind-the-scenes look at local TV news, and I was hooked. I had the honor and privilege of working with Tim for more than 25 years at WBAL-TV, first as his intern, then his producer, and then his boss man, as he called me. When he came into my office a few years ago and told me he was ready to retire, I worried what our newsroom would be like without him, without his guidance, his laughter, and that booming voice that Baltimore fell in love with so many years ago. Little did I know then, Tim would be taken from all of us far too soon. Here's 11 News anchor Jason Newton with a look at the remarkable career of our friend and newsroom pastor, Dr. Tim Tootin.
Over his career, Dr. Tim Tootin wore many hats.
Sun did not shine. It was too wet to play, so we set
many hats. Of the thousands of days he spent covering education, snow days may have been his favorite. And if he wore your school's hat on a snowy day, rejoice, no class. Which is ironic, because for 35 years, Dr. Tim Tootin reported with plenty of it. Class.
Tim is the Dean of Education Reporting for the Baltimore metro region.
The only full-time education reporter in Baltimore, Tim, like a school kid, never missed an opportunity to have fun, including at the Polar Bear Plunge.
Man, this thing has grown like crazy since I did it back 14 years ago, but they are ready.
Special Olympics of Maryland had a surprise for the doc at the 2024 plunge.
So today, in honor of everything you've done in the community for education, this is the Tim Tootin Unified Champion Schools Plunge.
He also owned the newsroom. You knew when Tim walked into the newsroom every day because it got louder, it got more energetic, and it was certainly a lot more fun.
Tim Tootin started working at WBAL-TV in August of 1988. While much of his career was focused on education, Dr. Tootin also covered other serious issues, including the Million Man March in Washington, D.C. in 1995.
As Mayor Schmoke got closer to the Capitol and closer to the people who were gathered here, his feelings became more intense.
He was also reporting the night President Ronald Reagan was shot.
If I remember, he'll tell you the story about they put him in one of those old Ford cars when Reagan got shot and said, "We need you to get to the hospital to cover, whatever press conference or whatever he had to do." He got lost in D.C. He said, "Man, I was driving that thing all over the place."
Tootin also traveled to Maryland, the Maryland in Liberia.
Baltimore is thousands of miles that way.
He put together a documentary called Africa's Maryland. Tootin walked the streets of Maryland County, Liberia, showing a very different perspective on life in another country, including the education system there.
After high school, I want to follow my education. I want to become a nurse.
After my high school, I want to go to college and I want to do civil engineer.
Tootin was also a man of faith and steadfastly practiced what he preached.
He's given us moral compass in the newsroom. And I think more newsrooms need something like that.
Even after retiring from the news business, Dr. Tootin remained focused on education. He continued to teach at Loyola University, where he served as a professor for more than 2 decades. His visits to the station included showing his college journalism students how a newsroom works to prepare them for the future.
He retired from WBAL-TV. But do you ever stop being a teaching minister teaching journalist, a father.
On behalf of this beautiful man, I ask for your attention, please. Having known Tim for more than 30 years, I've been asked to say a few words about the beloved icon, Dr. Tim Tootin, whose face and gray beard launched thousands of selfies with viewers in Baltimore. It always wasn't gray, but it was always Tim's. It's what happens when you are universally adored and revered. Tim was a giant of a television personality, our sturdy patriarch, whose unexpected death carried the same shock and weight of a bridge coming down without warning. Because Tim was our bridge, always carrying us where we needed to go. I know he's here in spirit, but I wish Tim were here to help me connect things tonight, telling me what to say and how to say it. Tim, or as a few of us called him, Dr. Love, was masterful with his powerfully engaging preacher's voice, his old FM radio DJ swagger, and a command over a room like many of the school principals he covered over the years. If Tim were here to accept the Ted Yates Award, I know he would first and foremost thank God, and then remind you it was Saturday night, and he should be at home working on the morning sermon for church, 8:30 sharp. In fact, this is exactly what he said just this past November when we were both inducted into the Silver Circle and he accepted the award. Tim, giddy from the honeymoon phase of his well-earned retirement, was joined by his adoring family, including two of the most patient grandsons you ever could meet. Tim spoke last after a long night, but his grandsons hung in there for their pop-pop. Their grandfather was the highlight of the night for all of us. Tim's daughter, Taryn, shared this with me about her dad and this posthumous honor. While we deeply feel the void of his absence, we find solace in knowing that his contributions continue to resonate and inspire many. This award, she said, not only recognizes his achievements and contributions, but also ensures that the legacy of Dr. Tim Tootin will endure. That night, back in November, when we were inducted into the Silver Circle, Tim made sure to mention those mentors in his life who had passed away and were now, in his words, in the gold circle of heaven. Tim has joined them, leaving us to thank him for being a guiding force for all of us, and, as he would want, to thank God for the beautiful Tim Tootin. Thank you.